Welcome to Retro Core Volume 29, starting off this month's show with Code R for the Sega Saturn, one of the most obscure racing games out there for the Saturn. In fact, many people didn't even know it was a racing game, and you're about to find out why. Now what you can't see on this video is the whole game runs in a beautiful high resolution.
てば、寝てんのか？ガソリン入ったぞ。
So I've had product placement there. Yeah, so. Basically, this is the real game. Think of Initial D, but in a Japanese adventure game style. You go through tons and tons of these screens, which are all in beautiful high resolution, and then you get to do a race, and then you get loads more text. Now this is why most people didn't think it was a racing game, but luckily you can choose the battle mode. And in the battle mode, first of all you choose your car settings, and then off you go and race. That's all you do, you race. Now I've been up to the 10th race, and I'm not sure if that's the last one or not, but it's bloody hard, I'll tell you that much. So the car mods look pretty good, don't they, for the Sega Saturn? So anyway, yeah, as I said, I've been up to the 10th race, and it certainly keeps you going. Now I haven't got a clue how many races there are, because I just can't get past the 10th one. But certainly enough to keep me going for a while. Also, you'll notice that this game does actually look quite sharp. Actual racing mode does run probably the highest resolution any racing game does on the Sega Saturn. There's a drawback to this, mind you. The courses do look a bit more squarish due to the lower polygon counts. But the overall effect is pretty good. Also, that lighting from the headlights is, you know, that extra icing on the cake. Another special mention must go to the sound on the game. It really does sound good, especially when you got the car rolling up right behind you. Controls are pretty good, especially if you're using the analog stick, but you do have to change settings on the car because the default controls are bloody awful. The car just slides all over the place. One thing that really sets this game apart from other racing games, is the replay mode. Now fair enough, the replay mode does run in half the frame rate as the original racing mode, and it does run at a lower resolution as well. But you got all these lovely camera angles which are really nice. And also, throughout the race you get comments from the driver who you're racing and the bystanders who are watching the race. Really is original. Just a shame that the frame rate's a lot lower. So if you're after another racing game for your Sega Saturn and you've already got the main ones, then you could do a lot worse than check out Code R, especially if you're into the initial D mountain road racing. And also you can have a stab at the RPG mode as well. Unfortunately it doesn't seem to be that much in there to keep you going for an awful long time. So it gets a retro core score of 6 out of 10, but if it's straight racing you're after, check it out. The game that spawned the Crush series. This is Alien Crush, which you may or may not know had the follow-up Devil Crash on the PC Engine and the Mega Drive, and Jackie Crush for the Super Famicom. Jackie Crush was actually the worst one, to be honest. Slow. So how's this original? The first in the series. What you expect being an older title, and the first in the series, it is a lot more basic. That doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad pinball sim. Of course, the most important thing in a pinball sim is the movement of the ball. And I've got to say, the ball movement does move quite well. It does have a few odd behavioural patterns every now and then, as you'll see in this bonus stage here, where the ball sort of gets stuck. Here we go, bounce from one side to the other, bouncy, 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 bouncy. And yeah, you can tilt the board like hell, and the ball just keep bouncing from one side to the other. So sometimes that can happen, but overall the ball movement is in fact quite good, especially for the game that's old. But I wasn't much good there, was I? One thing that does get a little bit annoying when you're playing the game for a long period of time is it doesn't actually scroll the screen up to the top half of the board. It basically just goes to a brand new screen. While the screen's changing, you get a little black screen for about a second or so, which at first doesn't really bother you, but it does seem to get a little bit tedious after you've been playing it for a while. Well, I suppose it does if you're playing in a dark room. As far as bonus rounds go, there are quite a few in there. And there's also quite a few nice little features on the main board, which will keep you playing to rank up your scores. Unfortunately, if you've got Devil Crash on either the PC Engine or the Mega Drive, I don't really see why you'd want to own Alien Crush. Now, there's nothing wrong with it, to be honest, but compared to Devil Crash, it does seem a little bit empty. But you know, if you're a collector of the pinball games, certainly do pick it up, because as I said, it's not a bad game, it is pretty good. It just doesn't have as much in as Devil Crash does. So Alien Crush on the PC Engine gets the score of 7 out of 10.
Am I insane? I wouldn't necessarily say I'm crazy, simply because I've heard the voices and battled the godless things in the woods. But I must be crazy to believe. It all started with that damn book, the Necronomicon Ex Mortis. Roughly translated, the Book of the Dead. Inked in human blood and bound in flesh. The book contained bizarre burial rites, prophecies, and demon resurrection passages. Professor Raymond Noby unearthed the book and brought it to this remote cabin where he could translate it. He awoke something dark in the woods, something evil. It got the professor. Then, it came for me. It got into my hand and it went bad. So I lopped it off at the wrist. The professor's daughter, Annie, helped me fight the evil. Using the book, we opened up a vortex to send the evil back. It worked. Big time. The girl died and I got a first-class ticket to the 12th century. I led a war against an army of Deadites, then used the book to get back home. Back to Dearborn. Even got my old job back. Not to mention, I met a great gal. Jenny, assistant manager, arts and crafts. We were the perfect match. But then, the nightmares came. For years, they haunted me, even when I was awake. Jenny thought I was crazy, but she agreed to help. We decided to go back to the cabin, back to where it all started. She said it would be good to face my fears. Big mistake. At first everything looked the same, like nothing ever happened. I wondered if all of it had just been a bad dream. Boy, was I wrong.
Whoa!
Oh no, not again! Damn it, it won't shut off.
Sobar, Gata, Nos Gata,
Jenny! Axe. Oh. This can't be happening. Not again.
Oh yeah, it's happening. It's happening in a big way. Now if you'll excuse me, duty calls.
Jenny's out there somewhere. Alive. I can feel it. If I can find the pages from the Necronomicon, I might be able to send the evil back and undo this whole mess once and for all.
Nice one, it's Assault Suit Valken 2. You may remember Assault Suit Valken from the Super Famicom, that wonderful mech shooter by NCS Messiah, released in the West, heavily censored, mind you, by Konami under the name of Cybernator. So how's this PlayStation sequel? I'll tell you one thing, it's certainly not a mech shooter. It's a strategy war-based game. Now, usually these aren't my cup of tea, but being Assault Suit Valken, I thought I'll give it a shot. Now, one thing I must say, it's really got a nice presentation. The opening movie, which is quite long, certainly well done. And these little introductions into the battle scene are also quite nice as well, especially the soundtrack that goes with them. But there is one bad point about this game. One really bad point, especially as far as I'm concerned, is it takes absolutely ages to load. Here we go, we're loading right now. And we're still going to be waiting for about another 20 seconds, I reckon. Yeah, we're still loading. And by the way, this is not a CD-R disc. Original disc, as with all the games we use here on Retro Corp. Hey, you may actually notice that it's got the sound coming through the left and right channels now. I have to get myself a new PlayStation. Okay, here we go, game's on. Story's in Japanese, of course, being a Japanese game. But one good thing about this is that all the options are in English, which is really good news for non-Japanese speakers. Because you know, in a game like this, you certainly need to know what you're selecting from the options. I suppose you could live without the story, I guess. Now, as I said, you know, these type of war simulation games aren't exactly my cup of tea, but you know, I thought I'll give it a try, see how it goes. Our first impressions were pretty good, you know. The visuals were nice, I love the soundtrack, and everything's in English, so it makes it a lot easier to play. And then things starts to come down. Now, one main problem I do have about this game is the amount of time you gotta wait for your actual turn. So there you go, it's my turn right now, as you can see. So I just select what I want to do. Actually, no, this isn't my turn, is it? I just said my turn. Shows you how much attention I was paying to the video while doing this commentary. Actually, at the moment, well, not the moment, finished now, but just then I was actually selecting my defense. So anyway, I've taken my turn, and now I've got to wait 5 minutes or longer before I can do my turn again. Yep, that's how long you got to wait before your next turn. Now this battle which I'm doing now actually took me about half an hour to complete. Now half an hour of the camera rotating all over the place, the screen blacking out every now and then while it loads. It really does start to take its toll on your eyes. In fact, I've just been stuffing my face full of food, and you know, start to feel a bit nauseous after playing this one. There may be fans of this style of game don't mind waiting ages for their turn. For me, I found it a very long and dull, drawn-out process. So unfortunately, it gets the Retro Corp score of 5 out of 10.
ファミリーコンピューター登場。カセットを挿入するとカラー52色の鮮やかな画像。コンピューターを相手に麻雀、五目並べ、そしてポパイ、ドンキーコング、2人で楽しめるマリオブラザーズなど10種類。ポーズボタンと切り替えスイッチで簡単にテレビ番組に変わるテレビ共存タイプ。家族揃ってファミリーコンピューター。
マキシム、マキシム、
94年12月、エストポリス再び。
俺はなんだかわかんねえけど、ファンタジーゾーン2持ってんだー。
ファンタジーゾーン2、ファミコンになって新登場。
サンソフト。
スーパーファミコン第1弾グラディウス3トナミ。
Bow your heads down for the masters. This is Technosoft's Elemental Master. Yes, coming from those great guys who brought us the Thunder Force series. This is Elemental Master. Fancy-based shooter. And quite an underrated shooter at that. Hey, good old anime intros. So first off, you get a selection of 4 stages. There's actually a total of 7 stages within the game, but you can only choose the first 4 to start off with. Now, unlike many shooters, you can actually fire backwards in this one, enabling you to kill enemies coming up from the rear. Not coming up your rear, by the way. There you go, just like that. This certainly adds to the pace of the game and really does make things frantic on later levels. As well as having 2 ways to shoot, forwards and backwards, you've also got a number of power-ups as well, including the standard shield and a lovely mirror power-up, which basically is an option. Makes duplicates of yourself. You can see another nice shield there. I think we've got a mirror up here somewhere. Here it is. There we go. One thing which I really must commend Technosoft on in this game is the enemy patterns. They don't come on in standard format which most games use. They come at you from all over the bloody place. There's some order to it, but you know, it's a nice change from the usual straight line, do a twirl and piss off again that most shooters did in the 16-bit age. There we go, once you complete a stage you get the little nymph here, comes down and says she'll protect you. What she does is she darts around the stage killing enemies for you. Very handy. She's not very strong, mind you. Also, upon completing a stage you get an extra weapon as well. So as you can see now I've got the standard blaster, which starts off with, and a nice fire blaster as well. Another outstanding point about Elemental Master is the audio. Now unfortunately, due to the limited sound channels on the Mega Drive, when you're actually playing the game, one of the sound channels is used for the sound effects. But if you listen to the tunes via the sound test, by holding A, B and C and start on the title screen, you can actually hear the tunes in full, and some of the stereo effects used in the music is amazing. Really is some good stuff. Technosoft really did know how to make good use of the Mega Drive sound chip. In fact, they're probably one of the only ones. You certainly did a better job than what Sega did. Another nice thing about Elemental Master is that every stage has its own terrain. By that I mean it affects the way you actually move along the surface of the area. So this stage within the ice water, or the ice stage where we've got water as well, so when you're in the water you actually move a lot slower. And when you're on the ice you're sliding all over the bloody place. I've really thought of everything. Torico is very happy to give Elemental Master on the Sega Mega Drive one of the most underrated shooters for the system. A lovely score of 8 out of 10, one of Technosoft's finest games. It's certainly no walk in the park either, it's going to test the most skilled gamers out there. So if you're shit at shooters, don't bother with it. Or buy it just on the cheap so you can hear the great music. And a Treasure Core Volume 29, Game of the Month. This is Street Fighter 03 for the Sega Saturn. Also available on the Dreamcast, on the PlayStation and the PlayStation 2. Now which version is the best version? Well, basically the Saturn version is the arcade. It's got the same screen resolution as the arcade. You can either choose between arcade and Saturn resolution. You can also choose between RGB output or normal output. The PlayStation version, well, enough said about that, the better. Lack of frames and animation, and bloody awful loading times. PlayStation version, wrong resolution, and that bloody awful pad. And the Dreamcast version, wrong resolution, and again, an awful pad to play with, unless you buy the ASCII fighting pad. Which basically means the Sega Saturn version is the ultimate version of Street Fighter 3 for the home. Or Street Fighter 03 I should say. And it's easy to see why. All the animations in there from the arcade, all the tunes are in there, all the speeches in there. Not only that, but it's also got a shitload of modes to play on. You've got 9 modes in total, ranging from arcade mode, versus mode, training mode, world tour mode, entry mode, team battle mode, survival mode, dramatic battle mode, and final battle. And let's not forget the options as well. So here we go with the survival modes, and as you can see there's quite a few variations to choose from there. Now one of the most interesting things about the survival mode is you actually have more than 2 characters on screen at once. In this case you've got 2 Sodoms and 1 Sakura. Or Sakura, however you want to pronounce it. As with all beat 'em ups recently, or around about that time as well, you've got your special moves. In fact, ever since Super Street Fighter came out, actually you had special moves. And in Street Fighter 03 you actually get a choice of 3 different versions. So you got your Xism, your Yism and your Zism, or whatever you want to call them. A weird name there. Which basically determines how you go about doing your special moves, and you know, how you power them up and so on. Here you can see the world modes where you actually travel around the world and powered up different aspects of your moves. Sort of like a mini RPG in a way, I guess.
It's showtime! Face it straight!
He didn't last long, did he? So with a massive roster of characters and 9 modes to play in, Street Fighter 03 is definitely going to keep the most hardened Street Fighter fan busy for quite some time. Definitely one of the best Street Fighter games ever made. Retro Core, Game of the Month, 10 out of 10.
Biohazard 4.
Excuse me. Sir? I was wondering if you might recognize a girl in this photograph?
¿Qué carajo estás haciendo aquí? ¡Lárgate, cabrón!
Sorry to have bothered you.
Freeze! I said freeze!
I'm sure that guy says cocksucker when he goes down. Just have another listen when you watch it again later on. Shit. Shit is right. The shit is hitting the fan in this game. This is Biohazard 4 for the GameCube. Now, first thing I must say is I never knew the GameCube could produce such gorgeous graphics. This game is a masterpiece to look at. It's one of the most beautiful games I've ever seen. Who needs next gen when you got stuff like this? As we all know, great graphics on won't make a great game, but they certainly do help. Well, I'm very happy to say that Biohazard 4 is the best Biohazard ever made to date. Well, at least I think so. Once you played this, you probably won't enjoy the others as much. But what makes it such a great game? Everything. The whole atmosphere is spot on, it's perfect. Down to the airy background music, to the way the locals are speaking to you, and the sound effects. Everything about it is just spot on. But that's not to mean that there isn't any problems in the game. There are a few graphic glitches where you can actually walk through certain items, but you know, you don't let them bother you too much. Now, I'm very happy to say that the game does have a new, fresh approach to it compared to the other Biohazard games. This is more of an action-based adventure than more of a puzzle-solving one, unlike the Biohazards. Of course, there are puzzles in this Biohazard, but compared to the other games, they're actually quite minor. Also gone are the tape ribbons for the typewriter. No need to worry about will you have enough tape ribbons to save later on or all that. Also, there's plenty of ammo all over the place as well. That's not to say that you're not going to run out, because you will do. You can see at the moment Leon is on his own. But also throughout the game you do have to take care of the President's daughter. Now usually I hate those type of sections in games where you gotta take care of another player. However, in Biohazard 4, it actually works very well. In fact, it's not a chore like you'd expect it to be. It actually makes the game a lot more enjoyable. Of course, if you shoot her in the head by mistake, it's game over. But most of the time she will duck out the way. Also, you've got to save her from getting carried off by the other zombies. Every now and then throughout the game you get to come across these little shooting gallery sections to let you practice your aiming. If you do really well in them, you can get yourself a lovely bottle cap figure with voices as well. Here's Ada there, you might remember her from Biohazard 3. She's in this one.
If you send out those invitations, I told you no more than 50 people.
As you expect, there's an awful lot of weapons to choose from in Biohazard. Not that you really need them all. I find that as long as you got the machine gun, pretty powerful rifle, and the shotgun, you're pretty much sorted. Now, a lot of people said this Japanese version is censored, and you can't decapitate people, but I'm not too sure what the decapitation is meant to look like, but you can blow people's heads off on this version. And as with all Biohazard games, it's full of lovely big bosses. Just look at the size of these mothers. That sorted him. Look at that, beautiful, isn't it? Shoot him in the bollocks. Added into the gameplay to give it a little bit more variety of the what I call as the QET section, basically from Shenmue, to be honest. Not that Capcom are copying, but every now and then, see you can just see there a couple of button commands appear on the screen, which enable you to move out of the way pretty quick. If you fail to press the buttons in time, you end up getting your head smacked in. As well as the normal game, Biohazard 4 has also got loads of mini games as well. So once you complete the game, you get 2 extra bonus games. You can actually play as Ada in the Ada the Spy mission, which is basically the later half of the second disc. And you also get the Marines game as well, or the Mercenary game, which consists of 6 submissions. Complete the missions and get extra weapons in the main game.
Now that's what I call backup.
The name's Mike. If you're looking for firepower, you've come to the right place.
As I've said, this game is just perfect. In fact, I should have made it Game of the Month, but I'd already done Street Fighter by the time I filmed this. So I will make it the unofficial Game of the Month, eh? So if you're after the game for your GameCube or your Nintendo Wii, because it'll work on your Wii as well, without any dodgy filtering. Hey, PlayStation 3 owners. So as I was saying, if you want an excellent action-adventure game for your Wii or your GameCube, you must buy Biohazard. Brilliant characters, amazing storyline. Well, storyline's not that great, but you know, the characters make it great. Non-stop action. Cameras, which can only be described as movie quality. And the whole game is presented in widescreen as well. If you've got a widescreen TV, you're sorted. Like, even on normal TV, it still looks great. It was a bit weird playing the game in widescreen at first, but soon got used to it. shit's gonna hit the fan there, doesn't it? This is the Streets of Rage remake from our lovely friends in Brazil, Bomber Games. Now you may remember the Retro Core featured a beta version of this about a year ago, and we were quite impressed. But how was the full version? Well, I have to say, it's fucking brilliant. Sorry for the fucking, but you know, it fucking is. Oh, there we go again. You can get it from bombergames.net, the address is at the bottom of the screen, just there, and Vessel, it's 100% free. Oh, it's for the PC as well, by the way. Now, featuring elements from the original Bare Knuckle, Bare Knuckle 2, and Bare Knuckle 3, or Streets of Rage if you prefer the Western name. The Streets of Rage remake is everything a Streets of Rage fan could want. But how exactly does it play? Well, the story's not exactly riveting, but you know, who reads the story? There we go, straight to the first stage, and of course we're in downtown. First thing you'll notice is that it actually still looks like the Mega Drive version. Okay, we got some new transparency effects in there, some new shadows and so on. Oh, but all Bomber Games have kept the look of the original game. And that's something they really should be applauded for. Because a lot of companies, when they make remakes of something, they completely throw away all the original stuff and replace it with complete crap. Now, Streets of Rage Remake features elements from Streets of Rage 1, 2 and 3, as I was saying. The element from Streets of Rage 1 is mostly a special weapon, or where the police come on and help you out. But your characters also have a lot of moves from Streets of Rage 2 and 3, including all the specials as well. Which is certainly nice to see in one game. Now, a lot of people might be thinking that it's just a remake of Streets of Rage 2 so far, but it is in fact a lot more than that. It's got all new levels which aren't featured in the original Streets of Rage games, plus new characters as well. And for those of you that are thinking, well, I don't really like the new transparency effects and the shadows, don't worry, because you can switch them all off. You can return to the original Mega Drive effects. Well, my game certainly thought of everything to keep everyone happy in this one. It's even a choice of sound as well. You can have the sound effects coming from the left and right depending on where you are on the screen, or the original, which I'm using at the moment. You also have the option of running the audio from a CD. Why would you want to do that? The remake audio in this Streets of Rage remake is absolutely amazing. Yuto Kishino himself would be proud of it. Here's a nice section which should have been in Streets of Rage 3 but never did appear. It's the bike section. Let's see, the guys at Bomber Games have stuck it in. So not only do you have a normal two-player simultaneous action beat-em-up, or one player like you can see here, but you've also got loads of other options as well, such as the edit mode. You've also got battle modes, survival modes, and God knows what else. There's certainly enough in there to keep you going for an awful long time, and it's free! And you certainly can't complain. Okay, the timing may be off a little bit when you're trying to do a compilation. I only noticed that because I played the originals to death. And even though it does seem just that slight bit off, it really doesn't bother you at all. A true classic. We're going to give Bomber Games Streets of Rage Remake a score of 9 out of 10. Have fuck it, we'll give it a 10 out of 10. It's free. Go and download it now. You'd be a fool if you didn't. One of the most beautiful futuristic racing games on the Sega Dreamcast, this is Magforce Racing. Runs at a solid, well, almost a solid 60 frames per second as well. Occasionally the frame rate does drop a little bit, but overall it does run quite nice. Unfortunately, this video that you're watching on the DVD version only runs at 30 frames per second, or 29.7 to be exact, so you're not going to be able to see the exact smoothness of this game. But at least you get an idea. Now, unlike other futuristic racing games, this one features tripods instead of hovercraft, which, as you'll expect, makes the controls a little bit different. In fact, not just a little bit different, a hell of a lot different. See what you've got your steer button, or your steer control, which is the analog stick, which is fine and dandy, but you've also got the LNR triggers, or LNR as I set them, which control a horizontal plane of scrolling left and right. They don't actually help you turn, they're not really turn adjust, to be honest, so just slide your tripod on a horizontal plane, which can make the controls really weird at first. Certainly took me quite a while to get used to them. But once you do get used to controls, you'll find yourself going at some really neck-breaking speeds, as you'll see on this course. And it's like all games like this, you've got a load of weapons to pick up to fire at your enemies, or your opponents, whatever you want to call them. And another nice little feature is the magnet control, which you have to use when the course actually tips upside down. You can have it set to automatic so it automatically stays on, but if you put it as manual and you go up a loop-to-loop or whatever, you can't fall off the track unless you use it. Another thing that you have to keep an eye on is the green bar, which you can see at the moment mine is empty. What the green bar is, that's actually a fuel, or I think that's what it is. And the more green engine pads you roll over, the higher fuel you maintain, which enables you to go faster. There you go, get a bit of fuel there. You see the green bar just went up. At first there's only 5 courses to complete, but once you complete them you get an extra 2. There's also quite a few hidden tripod vehicles to uncover as well. Computer AI can be a bit of a bitch sometimes. You know, on the first few levels it is quite easy, but you know, once you get into the later levels with the faster tripods, computer AI can be really nasty. Majority of the time just blowing it up with a missile from behind. So it reminds me of Mario Kart really. Here's one of the weird viewpoints you can choose from. Pretty unplayable to be honest, but you know, does look nice. Oh, it's a nice rhino's ass. So Torico gives Magforce Racing a score of 6 out of 10. Unfortunately it's the controls that really do it in, to be honest.
って観覧進行を乗り越えて指導してくれる立派な方だといいのだけど。うちのクラスは問題児揃いだから先生途中で逃げ出しちゃったみたいだし。いらしたわよ。先生おはようございます。
新発売やで。ファンタジーゾー2だで。はーい。
ファンタジーゾー2。ファンタジーゾー2、新発売。買ってね。
ファンタジーゾーン2、ファミコンになって新登場。
サンソフト。
これが空を行く快感だ。 3D フライトシューティングエアフォースデルタ Dreamcast。
It's R-Type 3, and unlike Super R-Type, this is not a bastardized version of R-Type 1 and 2. And it's actually fun! Yeah, I never was a fan of Super R-Type, thought it was just dull as hell. R-Type 3, that's a different thing altogether. So, first of all, you get a choice of 3 different pods to go on the front of your ship, or behind ship. And you get this little introduction sequence. Yeah, that's nice, isn't it? And straight into level 1. Now you may notice the bottom there, you can have beam powered up, just like that, which is done in the old fashioned way of holding down the button, or holding down the fire button, or you can have a hyper powered up. What the hyper basically does is it acts as some sort of a charge weapon, but when it hits something, it explodes. Especially destroys everything around it as well. Very useful for getting rid of the bosses in a quick fashion. And of course in good old R-Type tradition, your little pod can be fired off and attached to the front and back of your ship. Very handy for absorbing bullets. As you can clearly see, R-Type is certainly no slouch in the graphics department. Well, at least on level 1 it isn't. Here we go with the hyper mode, as I was trying to explain just before. Now the problem is with the hyper mode is when it wears out, you've got to wait a couple of seconds or more, well, about 20 seconds, before you can charge it up again. But look how fast it got rid of that boss. There you go, it's going down, so you got to wait till that reaches the bottom before you can use it again now. But at least you can still use your normal blaster. Now just like Super R-Type and the R-Types before that, R-Type 1 and 2, R-Type 3 is a bitch to play. It is really tough. Thankfully you don't get sent back to the beginning of the levels when you die, but you do get sent back far enough to make a uphill struggle, especially when you got no power-ups. So it's very important to make good use of your little pod. You know, leaving it stuck to the front of your ship all the way through the level isn't going to help you much. But for those who are after something really special, and something that's going to give them a challenge, you can certainly do a lot worse than buy Super R-Type 3. Or R-Type 3 I should say, not Super R-Type 3. Ah, that's a nice level, the way the walls morph into little enemies. Bloody hard though, tell you that. So what sort of score are we going to give R-Type 3? Well, it's one of the best shooters on the Super Famicom. It's only one of the hardest ones. So it's getting a retro score of 8 out of 10. This is the Academy of Shite Voice Acting from Treasure.
Are these the rebels? One group of them, sir. They have no strength to resist any longer.
But the leaders are still alive. There's no time now. Join the troops intercepting the ruffians.
Oh, a ticking LED clock? It's a bit odd, isn't it? No, it's not really the Academy of Shite Voice Acting, even though I'm sure that's where the people came from who did the voice acting for this game. This is Sin and Punishment. Now, being a Treasure game, you can't expect the controls to be normal. Basically, what you have is the analog controller, which controls the target that you have there. And you can move left and right by pushing left and right on the direction keys. You can also jump as well by using the R trigger button. And the Z button underneath the controller is used to fire. Not much in the way of power-ups. Basically you have a standard shot and you also have a lock-in shot as well.
Saki! Oh, Saki! Good morning, Saki.
Good morning, Iron.
Good morning, Iron. Bloody hell. You know, if you're doing the voice for this, at least you'd make yourself sound as if you just woke up, wouldn't you?
Come on, we've got work to do. Let's go!
Actually, quite a funny thing, this, the character Saki has actually got a male's voice, when actually Saki is a woman's name. I don't know, the guy's just a tranny. Who knows? So as you probably figured out, this is just basically a glorified light gun game. That's a light gun, of course. And actually I'm quite happy the way Treasure's come up with the idea for this game. But I don't think it would be as good if it was just a light gun game. The ability of actually having some control over the character, as well as controlling where your target is, it's actually a little bit on the confusing side at first. You know, you're moving two things left and right. Basically you control two things at once. But with a little practice and a little patience, you'll soon get the hang of
it. Come on, quick, into Shinjuku Station.
Hurry! The ruffian swarm has started attacking!
And I must say, it certainly moves at a lovely smooth frame rate. Treasure really done N64 and there's something special here. Yeah, the graphics do look a little bit on the blurry side. And you do see polygons going through other polygons on the characters. But you know, it's not that bad to be honest. The overall atmosphere in the game is just spot on. Challenge-wise, it is a little bit difficult, but I'd say that's mainly down to the controls and the actual game itself. The game is pretty easy once you get the controls sorted. There's not much depth to the game, you just basically run and shoot, to be honest. But what else have you got like this on the Nintendo 64? Nothing. Which actually makes this one of the better games to own. Nice refreshing change to the usual crap that you get. Lovely Retro Core scored of 8 out of 10. Here we go with this month's mobile games. Now remember last month I filmed it using a video camera direct from the phone, because everyone was saying that they couldn't see the screen size originally. Well, it looks like filming it from direct on the phone wasn't too popular either. Well, don't blame me really, because the picture was a bit of a mess. But lo and behold, I found some nice new software that actually blows the picture up to full screen. Nice one. So here we go with the first game this month. This is a 2D beat 'em up called Pentarium. Featuring loads of modes: story mode, arcade mode, training mode, and survival mode. 5 characters to choose from straight away, all with their own unique moves and speech as well. And you've even got a special. There's also 3 bosses to choose from. Unfortunately, I don't think you actually get to control them, you only get to fight them. I finished the game and couldn't control the boss characters. It's a bit of a shame really, because some of them are pretty good. Okay, so there we have Pentarium, pretty good 2D beat 'em up for your mobile phone, not bad at all. And here we go with another one coming from Taito. Actually used the same engine this game uses, so it makes me wonder if this, well the one just before this one, is also by Taito, even though it says it isn't. Again we've got all the standard modes, tournament mode, which you can actually save your game halfway through. Survival mode and battle mode and training of course. Now as you can see here, you can select 2 characters at once, but don't let that fool you. You don't actually get 2 characters to play as. One character does the magic, the other character does the battle. Now unlike Pentarium, this one does have quite jerky animation to be honest. But the weird thing is, sometimes it seems to be okay, and other times it just seems to be as slow and jerky as hell, like now. Again, features a load of special moves for each character and the magic one. Unfortunately, the slow pace of it does let it down quite a bit. But I must admit that some of the characters are pretty well animated. Now on to something a bit more different. This is Devils May Cry. I'm sure you all know this from the PlayStation 2. Here we go with the mobile phone version. Just as with the original, you can select different arms, different guns, and you can also power up your arms and guns as well. You also have a special move known as the Style. Usually consists of slashing away with your sword or going crazy with your guns. Now surprisingly it doesn't look that bad, it looks pretty good. Oh there we go, just the wrong button there. Special away there with the guns. Got all the combinations in, well not all the combinations, but it's got combinations in from the PlayStation 2 version. Just juggling the enemies in the sky. And it's absolutely jam-packed full of levels. As you can see just before you had the little routes which you can choose, a bit like the Darius games really. Each one of them is a separate level. The idea of this level is to kill as many enemies as possible in the time limit. Kill enough and the door will open. The orbs which you can see floating around are used to get yourself new weapons and so on. So some levels require you to collect a certain amount of orbs before you can actually get through the door. Mission clear. Here you go, that's how many stages you got. Just a quick glimpse of it, there it is. Control wise, it's not too bad actually. It is a little bit sluggish, as you can certainly see. But you know, considering it's quite an old mobile phone game, you know, 2005, it's not that bad. It's actually quite good. Certainly keep you amused for a good few hours. It's Tobal No. 1 for the PlayStation. Featuring 3 game modes, you've got Tournament, Versus and a Quest mode, which is actually quite a nice mode to be honest. Distinctive lack of music on the option screen and the title screen though. And on the character select screen as well. So choose one of your misfits and straight into the battle you go. Actually this is probably one of the fastest loading PlayStation games out there. Which is not surprising really, considering it doesn't have to load in any textures, or not that many by the looks of it. And this is Squaresoft's first attempt at a 3D beat-em-up, and on the PlayStation of course they've got the likes of Tekken to go up against with, and Toshinden. Well, Toshinden's not too hard to be better than, is it? Instead of going with the Tekken style of gameplay, Square have actually gone with more of a Virtua Fighter style of a 3D beat 'em up. The moves are quite similar to the ones that you see on Virtua Fighter. Not only the moves similar to the Virtua Fighter moves, but also the way the game behaves is quite similar as well. Some of the camera angles seem to come straight from Virtua Fighter.
Ready, fight!
But you know, there's nothing wrong with taking ideas from another game, as long as you don't completely rip them off, which Tobal certainly does not. Each character is varied enough, and there is quite a challenge in there as well. As for learning characters' moves, it doesn't take that long to be honest, there aren't that many moves per character. But when you get into the technical aspect of the game, it does actually rank quite high. Of course it's not up there with the likes of Virtua Fighter, but there's quite a lot to learn. And mastering the moves is one thing, but mastering how to use them and when to execute them is another. So overall, Tobal No. 1 is actually a pretty decent beat 'em up for the PlayStation. It's certainly not as good as the likes of Tekken. Personally, I think Tekken's a sack of shit to be honest, but I can see why people enjoy it. And of course, not as good as Tobal No. 2, but for the first attempt into the world of 3D beat 'em up, Square have done not too bad. So if you can find it cheap, pick yourself up Tobal No. 1.
Continue.
So we give Tobal No. 1 the lovely electrical score of 7 out of 10. The game that showed Saturn owners that the machine wasn't a sack of shit as far as 3D was concerned. This is Virtua Fighter 2. After the lax-shore conversion of a Virtua Fighter, or bloody pathetic conversion of Virtua Fighter I should say, and a pretty graphically unimpressive version of Daytona, Saturn owners were thinking, oh, we're going to be buggered now, we've got no good 3D games. And then came Virtua Fighter 2. Loads of modes to play in, but we'll be just going with the straightforward arcade mode.
Ready, go!
Now, not a lot of people know, but this actually runs at a higher resolution than the arcade machine does. Of course, everything's a lot smaller with a lot less polygons, and also the backgrounds aren't really true 3D either, but you still look the part. Now, compared to the likes of Virtua Fighter 4 and the more recent Virtua Fighter 5, Virtua Fighter 2 is a little bit on the basic side as far as playability is concerned. But for its time, it certainly was, you know, ahead of its time, if that makes any sense. As you can see, I'm playing as Pi here, and recently I've been playing a lot of Virtua Fighter 5 down the arcades. And going back to Virtua Fighter 2 Pi, this seems to be quite unusual. You know, half the moves are missing. Well, not half the moves, bloody most of the moves are missing. And of course the timing's off as well. But you got to give it to Sega. For the Sega Saturn conversion, the timing was absolutely spot on compared to the arcade version. They had all the moves in there and all the speech as well. They certainly did cram a lot into the Saturn's tiny memory.
Fight! One! Ready, go!
These days you can pick Virtua Fighter 2 up bloody next to nothing, especially here in Japan. You know, you can find it for like 50 yen sometimes, and you know, that's mint copies as well with spine cards. So certainly no excuse for not owning the game. One of the true classics, and one of the games that actually showed Saturn owners that a machine could do 3D. Virtua Course score of 9 out of 10.